The House Homeland Security Committee held a hearing on the oversight of the Department of Homeland Security. It was the first such hearing since the deaths of two Minneapolis residents or official people up there that happened last month. Now, the committee heard testimonies from officials with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE, and the Border Patrol, and Citizenship and Immigration Services. So what were the takeaways from this hearing? Joining me now to discuss this is Congressman Josh Brecheen, who is a member of the House Homeland Security Committee as well as the Budget Committee and the Freedom Caucus. He represents the 2nd Congressional District of Oklahoma, where I actually went to high school and grew up. Congressman Brecheen, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tony. Always an honor. I'm so impressed with the mifepristone issue that you guys continue to highlight, as well as taking on the sexual immorality that is trying to ruin this culture. And so waiting on the ad to finish, just kudos to FRC.
Well, coming up in the next segment, I actually have Senator Josh Hawley, who is going to give us an update on his meeting with Commissioner of the FDA, Marty Makary. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but people are going to want to hear what took place in that meeting. All right, I want to get to Syria because there was a hearing on Capitol Hill about Syria as well, but I want to first get your takeaway from today's oversight hearing with ICE and Homeland Security, all these different agencies that appeared.
Well, I think that people that come in representing the Democrat side, their minds were not changed. And so I think it was so incumbent upon the Republicans to speak to, hopefully the independent that's trying to figure out what the just and the cause. And I would encourage all of your listeners to go to a website, wow.dhs.gov. I'm going to repeat that, wow.dhs.gov. And why? As I held up a visual in the committee of just in the state of Oklahoma, the number of illegal aliens, sexual predators preying upon minors. I think everyone needs to recenter and really remember a year ago where this country was at when you were hearing stories about 12-year-old girls taken under bridges and raped by illegal aliens and then murdered. Heart-wrenching stories. Trinidad Aragua taking over entire apartment building complexes. And then if you will go to that website, I think you will find this is not something that's abstract. It's not something thousands of miles away. You'll find, like I did, 25 miles away from me, Emmanuel Martinez was picked up in Oklahoma, Tok, Oklahoma, and for sexual acts with a child. And then you begin to remember, oh yeah, I had that conversation with my teenager who was going to go to Dallas a year and a half, 2 years ago, saying stay out where the public lights are, make sure someone's always with you when you're getting in and out of the vehicle, because you are heightenedly aware of the 15 million people unvetted that came into this country. And the stories that need to be discussed is the news stories we're not talking about how these sexual predators would have been preying upon somebody close to you or somebody that you would have known in your communities.
So we're doing a course correction when it comes to immigration. The borders have been wide open, and this is a very rapid change.
Yes.
Actually enforcing the law. It's a novel idea, but it's happening, and there's conflict. Now, that's not to say, there's some things I would probably do a little bit differently, but we have to anticipate that there's going to be some friction because we're enforcing the law that hasn't been enforced, yes. And there's going to be some problems. We're dealing with human beings. There's
human error,
be problems. Yeah,
absolutely. As I said to someone today, imagine you're in the pocket, and everybody on Monday morning is going to evaluate your judgment as a quarterback, but you're in the pocket. You're the one staring down the 300-pound defensive lineman, and he's coming at you. And so there will be human error. People will second guess. But make no mistake, these are individuals that are trying to enforce the law of the land. And many times, if the detainer issued to the jails in these sanctuary cities would be honored, and these people, instead of the thousands that have been released, could have been incarcerated in these sanctuary cities, and cooperation with ICE would take place, we wouldn't be seeing this.
Right.
This is manufactured because those who oppose this administration are trying to make it as hard as possible. But the sad reality is they're making their communities as unsafe as possible.
It's difficult. It's a difficult situation. It's a problem that's been festering for many, many years. I'm grateful for the administration tackling it. Looking at this as a former law enforcement official, I understand those decisions you have to make right in the heat of a confrontation.
You're the quarterback, Tony. You've had the experience of facing the 300-pound defensive.
And I know that it goes both ways. And I just think we've got to be open-minded. We've got to be prayerful about it. I just think that we're so polarized as a nation. I don't think it does anyone good on either side to rush to judgment before we have all the facts. And that's, I think, what inflamed these recent events is that we had people on both sides immediately coming to a conclusion they didn't even have the facts.
Yeah. First one to present their case seems right till another comes forward and questions them.
I think I've read that somewhere in the good book. Hey, very quickly, we just got about a little over a minute left. Syria was the focus of another hearing today on Capitol Hill. Give us a quick overview of that, because there's a lot of religious minorities, including Christians, that are in the crosshairs there.
Nadine Menza, someone you've had on FRC, I know, I'm very well aware. Nadine was a key panelist today in the Foreign Affairs Committee. I waved on because of my involvement. And I took her through a series of questions. Number one, is it true, her and the entire panelists, is it true that Turkey's president, Erdogan, has said he wants to reestablish the Ottoman Empire? True, the response from the panel. Is it true that you've not seen anything publicly where Turkey is aghast at what Syria is doing? And is that possibly connected to their unsized influence in Syria? So if their desire is to reestablish the Ottoman Empire, which means to go all the way into Jerusalem, and if you're really, as the panelists talked about, trying to broker peace between Israel and Syria, then maybe if Turkey's applauding and Israel is nervous because there's not a demilitarized zone to the north of them, southern Syria, and at the same time Turkey is trying to gain this access, Russia wants to establish military posts.
Hey, Josh, we got to leave it there. We'll finish that conversation another day. Thanks for joining us.